So it's been 3 months since the administration took office, and probably just over 4 months since we did a deep dive into Project 2025. Think it's time for a catch up. So let's just go over some of the things that we should be thinking about, some of the things that have already been checked off the box, what the true intention is behind this whole manifesto, and what we can expect. Hey everyone, what's up? I am Kim, aka Kim with the Gems. Let's just get into it though. So, Project 2025 is a plan to unite the conservative movement and the American people against elite rule and woke culture warriors. Their movement has not been united in recent years, and the country has paid the price. I'm reading directly from the manifesto, and I highly recommend each and every one of you do the same. In the past decade, the breakdown of the family, the rise of China, and the Great Awakening, AWOKENING, big tech abuses, and the erosion of constitutional accountability in Washington have rendered these divisions not just inconvenient, but politically suicidal. Every hour, the left directs federal policy and elite institutions, our sovereignty and constitution, our families, and our freedom are a step closer to disappearing. Listen to this, y'all. Conservatives have just 2 years and one shot to get this right. With enemies at home and abroad, there is no margin for error. With enemies at home and abroad, there is no margin for error. Time is running short. If they fail, well, it says if we fail, the fight for the very idea of America may be lost. We should take this small window of opportunity we have left to act with courage and confidence, not despair. The last time our nation and movement were so near defeat, we rallied together behind a great leader and great ideas, transcended our differences, rescued our nation, and changed the world. And it's time to do that again. Now, as then, we know who we are fighting and what we are fighting for our republic, for our freedom, and for each other. The next conservative president will enter office on January 20th, 2025, with a simple choice: greatness or failure. It will be a daunting test, but no more so than every generation of Americans has faced and passed. The conservative promise represents the best effort of the conservative movement and the next conservative president's last opportunity to save our republic. The underlying theme is warp speed. The underlying theme is within 2 years, they plan to completely flip this country on its head. And back in November, December, we talked about some of the key initiatives, and we're going to talk about it again today. Now, once again, I highly recommend that you download and read this 800-page document on your own at your leisure. It's very telling. And if you really want to see what could potentially be in our future, it's there in black and white. So we talked about it before, and some of these things have already manifested. And we're just going to go once again through the top 29. In no-fault divorce. Complete ban on abortions without exception. Ban contraceptives. Additional tax breaks for corporations and the 1% higher taxes for the working class. Elimination of unions and worker protections. Raise the retirement age, which is what, already 67? Cut Social Security. Cut Medicare in the Affordable Care Act. Raise prescription drug prices. Again, all of this is within their promise. And you can download this. The link will be in the description. You'll also find the link to download the Project 2025 policy document. You'll also find the link to subscribe to the Heritage Foundation and learn more about what the plans are. Also, you'll be able to click the link and learn more about the RNC and the whole MAGA platform. So did we mention raise prescription drug prices? We've already seen that happening. Eliminate the Department of Education. We talked about all of this, y'all. None of this should be a surprise for those who have been following the Gym Nation, right? I'll actually I'll put the link again, maybe up here, from the video where we broke all of this down months ago. So we should have been preparing, but if you haven't, start preparing now. And always remember, you can replay any of my videos on a much higher speed to get through them quicker, especially the lives, because the lives, they're live. Okay, so eliminating the Department of Education, we've already heard, we know who they appointed, and we know what the plans are. Use public taxpayer money for private religious schools, teach Christian religious beliefs in public schools. That's all under one. End free and discounted school lunch programs. We've already heard Letitia James talking about that. We've heard other government representatives at the city, state levels talking about how these cuts have already been implemented. End civil rights and DEI protections in the government. Sound familiar? That was marching orders like day one. Also, ban African American and gender studies in all levels of education. All levels of education. We've already heard about schools being penalized, defunded, and more, right? Losing tax status for not complying. Ban books and curriculum about slavery. That all started in Florida with the CRT, right? Critical race theory. So that's also, in action. And you can also check out, we went over how you can find the massive list of executive orders that have already been signed. And we are only 3 months in, y'all. 3 months in. They talk about the first 180 days, and then they talk about the first 2 years. So expect daily changes if something does not stop it. Ending climate protections. They're in the process of that now. They've already started implementing and taking action on how to do that by defunding any government organization that supports it. Increase Arctic drilling. Deregulate big business and the oil industry. We see that happening. Listen, the fact that we talked about these 29 things 4 months ago, and they have already, that was number 19. This is serious. This is real serious, and we need to take it serious. And we're coming to you with some recommendations, some suggestions on how we can be proactive versus reactive, but it's a lot. It's a lot. Let's move on to promote and expedite capital punishment. We know who's disproportionately affected. End marriage equality. Condemn single mothers while promoting only traditional, definition of traditional, married, husband, wife, children. Defund the FBI and Homeland Security. Use the military to break up domestic protest. That's why we have been vocal about, as some of these protests against retailers, these protests against some of the changes being made, Black and brown people, be careful. Be careful, because some of these can be a trap. Some can be authentic, some can be a trap, as they already have plans to use the military to break up these type of protests. Mass deportation of immigrants and incarceration in camps. Do I need to even clarify what has been going on over the past couple of weeks between the US and El Salvador, and how it's going to get worse before it gets better if it's not stopped? This is clearly written out as part of their promise. in the Project 2025 document. Number 26, in birthright citizenship. And again, these are just the top 29. This video is going to be a short one. We are going to come back and talk more about what is left to do. But these were the top 29 that we went over back in November, December. And here we are in April with so many of these initiatives because they are using that warp speed method. And number 26, ending birthright citizenship, which is part of the 14th Amendment, which other protections that relate to us fall under. They're already working to check that off the box. Ban Muslims from entering the country. We've already seen some of the targeted countries that they are revoking visas and access, and most are brown and Black countries. Number 28, eliminate federal agencies like the FDA, EPA, so the FDA, Food Drug Administration, EPA, Environmental Protection Agency, and more. We see that happening as well. And then number 29 was to continue to pack the Supreme Court and lower courts with right-wing judges. We've been hearing that already. There's a big thing happening here in New York, but I'm sure in your city, state, you're hearing that as well. So again, today's conversation was really just to readdress what their plans are, encourage you to do your own research and your homework to see exactly what this document is. It's called a promise, right? It is actually called America's, the conservative promise. So it's Mandate for Leadership, the Conservative Promise. It's a long document. There's also resources on the internet where you can find summaries. But if you take, 10 pages a day, 10 pages a day, a few times a week, try to get through it because you don't want to be, as they say, a sitting duck. You want to be proactive versus reactive. And that's what we're here on this channel to help you with, to drop gems about what's happening, and then hopefully bringing on people and giving some insight as to what we can do to stay ready so we don't have to get ready, right? And then be about that action. If you have any comments about what we just went over, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section. Any links to any resources, both free and paid, will be in the show notes in the description, and I'll see you on the next video.